तव कथामृतम् तप्तजीवनम् कविभिरीडितम् कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलम् श्रीमदाततम् भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः.
Om Tava Kathāmritam Tapta Jivanam Kavivireeditam Kalmashāpaham Shravanamangalam Shrimadātatam Bhuigrunanti Ye Bhurida Jana. We are studying the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and today we are to start chapter 39, which is on page 743 of the Bengal English book and corresponding to 793 of the Bengali book. And that is the April conversations of April 12, 1885. First, sometimes the day is not given. As Pahla Vaishakh, Chaitra Krishna Trayodashi. Okay. So, why they are there? It is the beginning of the Bengali year. So, it is the Bengali New Year's Day. And so, there is holiday. And that is why people are assembled. And Sri Ramakrishna was sitting with the devotees in Balaram's drawing room in Calcutta. Because it was holiday, Sri Ramakrishna is in Balaram's room because all the people around could meet him. M arrived at 3 o'clock. Found that Girish, Balaram, the younger Naren, Paltu, Dvija. Dvija is Master Masha's younger brother-in-law. Purna, Mahendra Mukherjee, and many other devotees were there. Purna also was there. Sure? Shortly, Trailokya Sanyal, Jayagopal Sen, and other members of the Brahmo Samaj arrived. Many women devotees were present, also seated behind a screen. Among them was Mohini's wife. Mohini, you understand? Mohini Mohan, Master Masha himself, his wife, who had almost gone insane on account of her son's death. There were a few other afflicted souls like her who used to visit the master to obtain peace of mind. That is the influence of a spiritually elevated person. Sri Ramakrishna was describing to the devotees, and the heading is The Master's Reminiscences. Sri Ramakrishna was describing to the devotees the various incidents of his sadhana and the phases of his spiritual realization. Now, why? Sri Ramakrishna himself will tell later on. Let us think of it now. Sadhana and states of spiritual realization. Now, what is sadhana and which sadhana can be said as an ideal sadhana, and how ideal sadhana is always an example in front of our eyes. What is sadhana? The attempt to realize the truth is called sadhana. Now, how and when it starts and it is real, not doing something abnormal somewhere is not sadhana. But the truth, Brahman, our own reality, the reality of the entire world, is our reality, and so now and then it shows itself in our mind if it is sufficiently pure. Or we have faith in that, we get some conception of that, and when we know, as Sri Ramakrishna has said, that there is a thief, and in the adjoining room, he has come to know there is a big lump of gold. Can he sit quiet? No, he will think for night how to make a hole in the wall and get that gold. So, when we know, intellectually are convinced or feel some or other due to purity that our real nature is absolute Satchit Ananda, and that now and then it will pray, come, and then we want to realize it. This state, this effort is the real sadhana. When we, in our conception, it has arrived either by bhakti or jnana or by Thakur's grace that we are not this mortal man. We are immortal. Our real nature is bliss. Our real nature is absolute consciousness. We never die. If such conviction, conception grows in us, we get a sort of feeling that we must get it, we must get it. And that attempt is called real sadhana. Now, see Sri Ramakrishna, he was God himself, and so many times he used to feel that truth. He used to feel that it is within himself. And so the desire, we are discussing Sri Ramakrishna as a human manifestation of God. So he used to feel, I must get it. I must make it my own. That is absolutely real, true sadhana. I said, if we get a conception or conviction, then our attempt is called sadhana. Here, Sri Ramakrishna feels that it is his own real nature. So, automatically, he is pulled towards that. And that is why that is the ideal sadhana for us. And so, Sri Ramakrishna's purpose of life is to make people awaken to their real natures and to inspire them to do sadhana. That is the very nature of his incarnationhood. Now the question comes, why in other incarnations we do not find in the description available of their doing sadhana? And Sardan Swamiji has discussed and replied that the devotees, writers of their lives, thought that our ideals were never imperfect even in appearance. And so they want to hide that portion and we are only narrated Shankar Digvijay, glory of Sri Krishna. How they become like that? That connection is not shown. On the other hand, Sri Ramakrishna feels speciality that this age we are becoming practical for so many wrong things, which is ruining the whole world. For the sake of Kamini, Kanchan, we are intoxicated. That is the nature of the present world. So he wants us to imprint on our mind that your real nature is infinitely higher than all this sham, all these worthless so-called enjoyments. And then only our consciousness will awake and will try to realize God. So the importance of sadhana has to be imprinted in today's world, and that is why Sri Ramakrishna not only performed all sadhanas but was in the habit of describing them. So the other writers, they may hide, but Sri Ramakrishna himself used to tell, and that is why he wants Master Masha with him always, that Master Masha will write this and people will read all that. You know what the great people say? Sri Ramakrishna has roused the Brahma Kundalini, the whole world's aspiration he has aroused. And so, if we sometimes feel that we should realize God, it is not credited to us. We need not have any ego on that. It is Sri Ramakrishna's awakening of the Brahma Kundalini that has made us desirous of realization. And so, Sri Ramakrishna knows it is a part of his mission, purpose of his life to practice, and he has practiced sadhanas of all religions. That is still wonderful. Nobody up till now has even imagined that. So, we do not feel that conflict which used to feel previously, whether this religion is true or that religion is true, or whether this is suitable for us or that is suitable for us, because we now know that according to our temperament, we can get hold of any proper sadhana. And Sri Ramakrishna goes on describing the state of the mind in which he did a particular sadhana. And so we can easily find corresponding state of mind in us and do that sadhana. So that is the purpose of Sri Ramakrishna's not only doing sadhanas, but telling about them again and again. And so it is a great occasion. And so many devotees have gathered, and Master Mashe will publish it in course of time, and the whole world will read it. So Sri Ramakrishna was describing to the devotees the various incidents of his sadhana and the phases of his spiritual realization. He has done in so many ways, so that he is describing his experiences. This is such an important thing because Vedanta has become theoretical, devotion has become sentimental, and so the real insight of that devotion, the real insight of Vedanta in practical life is in Sri Ramakrishna, and that is his description. Master, during my sadhana, when I meditated, I would actually see a person sitting near me with a trident in his hand. He would threaten to strike me with the weapon unless I fix my mind on the lotus feet of God, warning me that it would pierce my breast if my mind strayed from Lord. So now, in Him, everything is tangible, everything is objected, everything is palpable. So, we can understand, is the prototype of us, that there is a God. There is somebody watching us. He is our prototype. So if he has seen a sannyasi with a trident, so we have a higher soul within us and he is watchful. If we do mistake, if we slacken, he will put the trident in our heart. Now, we should think like that. Seeing Sri Ramakrishna, we should think like that someone is watching us continuously. Unless we do sadhana, he will kill us. The Divine Mother would put me in such a state that sometimes my mind would come down from the Nitya to the Leela. And this is another unique thing in Sri Ramakrishna, that not only the Nitya is right, not only the Leela is right, but both are different ideals for different types of people. And after the Nitya, we should come to the Leela. Through the Leela, we can go to the Nitya. And after Nitya, we should come to Leela. And Sri Ramakrishna, it has become natural like breath. Anytime he can climb, and anytime he can come down to our level. So that is what he is describing. Sometimes my mind would come down from the Nitya to the Leela and sometimes go up from the Leela to the Nitya. Here, up and down are spiritually there, not up and down. But the mind goes to a higher level, absolutely merges in God, who is the superior, so above. And the manifestation is below. So when it comes down to the manifestation, it is as if coming down. It is not physical coming down and going up, but in the consciousness, mind rises and comes down. Sometimes when the mind descended to the Leela, I would meditate day and night on Sita and Ram. Sometimes when I am not thinking of the Nitya, I am in the relative aspect of Saguna Brahma. I am the worshipper and there is got to be worship. Then he was filled with ideal of Sita and Ram. So Vaishnavas of all types plus devotees of Rama, they can get inspired that Thakur has passed through these states and these are real. So we can also struggle. Ram Lala was my constant companion. A image of the child Rama. Image is made of 8 metals together. That was with a devotee of that school. But Sri Ramakrishna could see its play. And day and night he used to be immersed in that thought. So much so that Ramlala stayed with Sri Ramakrishna. And so that Ramlala at those times, I could constantly behold the forms of Sita and Rama. So Not only his mind was filled with that, he could objectively see Sita and Rama. That gives so much faith and conviction to us. These days, of course, we need not go through that side. Unfortunately, some people say there is a doubt whether Rama was born or not. I was wondering that all the Hindus and many in the foreign countries, how they put names of their children as Rama and Sita. Rama did not exist. How many times people bless each other, be like Sita? How many times our always elders will show ideal, see Rama did like that, and Rama did not exist. There is doubt about Rama's existence. So, Rama is a living thing in India and all countries influenced by India. More than India, in Sri Lanka, the houses, streets, squares are named after characters of Rama. There is a whole island called Wali. So Wali is a big character in Rama. And so names, how many names are put on Rama? In where is that? Fiji, Mauritius. The Prime Minister was Ram Gulam. Ram Gulam, slave of Rama. And so Rama is living even today in the minds of Indians and world which is influenced by Indians. And so Thakur has seen Rama is real. And so we get so much conviction that we are not chasing some wild goose. We are chasing the reality which is called Rama. And that Ramlala was constant companion of Thakur. And Thakur used to talk about how Kausalya dealt with him, how Dasharath dealt with him, how he dealt with Dasharatha. So, if 1,000 people madly tell us that Rama is doubtful whether he exists or Rama, do we will believe that? We are, Rama and Sita has so much entered the blood of the Indians and all people in the world influenced by the Indians. And so Thakur is talking of him. Sometimes I would bathe him and sometimes feed him. And Thakur has such direct experiences of child Rama in that image. Sometimes used to bathe him, sometimes used to feed him. Again, I used to be absorbed in the ideal of Radha and Krishna. That is very popular, very popular among the Vaishnavas, very popular among Indians. And again, I will say of the whole world influenced by India. Now these Gaudiya Math and ISKCON people, they have gone throughout the world to preach on Krishna and the love of Krishna. And would constantly see their forms. Or again, I would be absorbed in Gauranga. Gauranga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, people outside Bengal never thought of him. It is due to Sri Ramakrishna and the gospel that we are thinking of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu today. The whole world knows it. He is the harmonization of two ideals, the Purusha and the Prakriti. What is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? That Sri Krishna wanted to see for himself how Radha loves him. And so he took form, such a form that outside fair complexion Radha, inside Sri Krishna. And that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he is a combination of both Prakriti, that is Radha, and Purusha, that is Sri Krishna. So Thakur has seen this. At such times, I would always see the form of Gauranga. So Thakur had realization of everything. He could see the form of Gauranga. So we can also meditate on Gauranga if it suits our mind. Then a change came over me. This is another wonderful idea, that all the bhavas end in monism. All the bhavas end in identity between God and man. So after practicing and getting filled with these ideals in a very concrete form, then Thakur being God himself, if this is not understood by people, Thakur is telling about himself, that his mind used to ascend, go away. He has first described what used to happen when the mind was on an outside level. Now he says, at other times, then a change came over me. The mind left the plane of the Leela and ascended to the Nitya. So this is a below and higher in spiritual life that Thakur is telling. I found no distinction between the sacred Tulsi and the ordinary Sajna plant. Drumstick, that is called Sajna. So ordinary drumstick plant and Tulsi, which is held to be the holiest of the holy, basil tree. And Thakur found, now here sometimes the Bengali equivalent names are given, though English equivalents are there. So I told you, drumstick plant and basil, holy basil tree. So otherwise, how would people not knowing the Indian languages will know? And throughout India also, Sajna is called not Sajna. Because we are reading in English, so I give the English names. So, when one goes to Nitya or the eternal Brahman, the whole world appears to be illusory, no greater and smaller. That also he has realized. I no longer enjoyed seeing the forms of God because he is showing that that is the higher. And when that idea comes, then one no longer enjoys to remain in the relative. They come and go, forms. Forms come and go. I lifted my mind above them. I removed, and Thakur's everything is so direct. I removed all the pictures of gods and goddesses from my room and began to meditate on the primal Purusha. Primal Purusha, Purusha is not a person. Primal Purusha means the being of the entire world. The being, the consciousness of the entire world. It is called Purusha because he is perfect. It is called Purusha because he is all-pervading. Though all-pervading, yet constant, perfect. That is the primal Purusha. The indivisible Satchidananda, Akhanda, indivisible existence, consciousness, bliss. Regarding myself as his handmaid, that is another idea. Nirguna Brahma, but we can be in a relation with that Nirguna Brahma. Wonderful harmony. And from this, we can go to the identity through a relation. This is something unique, important for the sadhaka. Handmade. I practice all sorts of sadhana. So, this is general summarization. All sorts of sadhana, all forms of God, formless God, Leela, Nitya, corresponding sadhanas he has performed, and we can read about them in his biography. And Thakur is describing them here. There are three classes of sadhana: Sattva, Sattvic, Rajasic, and Tamasic. So this is another categorization. In the Sattvic sadhana, the devotee calls on the Lord with great longing or simply repeats his name. He doesn't work. He doesn't seek any results in return. That is Sattvic sadhana. The Rajasic sadhana prescribes many rituals. Purascharanas, that is a vow of repeating some mantra from sunrise to sunset or for certain days together. Pilgrimage, Panchatapa, worship with 16 articles and so forth. So, Rajasic sadhana depends upon activity, and that he has done. The Tamasic sadhana is a worship of God with the help of tamas. The attitude of a tamasic devotee is this: Hail Kali, what? Wilt thou not reveal thyself to me? This is the tamasic sadhana according to Thakur. Not that we sleep and it is called tamasic sadhana. If not, I will cut my throat with a knife. Tamasic sadhana, Thakur has practiced this also. In this discipline, one does not observe conventional purity. It is like some of the disciplines presented by the Tantra. The Tantra is known in Bengal, so he's telling about Tantra. During my sadhana period, this was a period in Thakur's life. I had all kinds of amazing visions, all kinds of amazing visions. So his sadhana was leading to direct fruits. There should not be any doubt in our mind about that. I distinctly perceived the communion of Atman. You understand? Communion? Raman. Apparently, sexual union between the Purusha and Prakriti. But Thakur is to see it within himself. We have read about this in the ninth meeting of Master Masha with Thakur. In 24 August 1882, you will find this. And Thakur is talking about that. Communion means sexual union. I distinctly perceived the communion of Atman. A person exactly resembling me entered my body and began to commune with each one of the 6 lotuses. That is the tantric or yogic facts, that there are subtler lotuses or wheels within the spinal cord. And the Atman goes and has communion with one center, and then that lotus opens. Direct vision. Each one of these 6 lotuses. The petals of these lotuses had been closed, but as each of them experienced the communion, the drooping flower bloomed and turned itself upward. Thus blossomed forth the lotuses at the centers of Muladhara name. Muladhara is the lowest point in the spinal cord. Mul Adhar, the base support. Swadhisthana, Swadhisthana is Guhya Linga Navi. Are the 6 described? Muladhara, Swadhisthana, Anahata, Vishuddha, Adna and Sahasra. One name is missing here. Sahasra is the 7th. Let me find in the Bengali. Muladhar, Swadhisthana, Anahata, Vishuddha, Agya, Sahasra. No. Muladhar, Swadhisthana, Anahata, Vishuddha. Vishuddha is Kantasthan. What is the Hridayasthan? What is one? Anybody? Reference of Tantric Sadhana? Manipur. Manipur is the Navi place. And that is somehow missed either in telling or in Master Maharaj's noting. Muladhar at the lowest, Swadhisthana near the parallel to the genetic organ, Manipur parallel to the navel, Anahata parallel to the heart, Vishuddha parallel to the throat, Ajna in the Bhrumadhya, and Sahasrara. Sahasrara is the 7th in the brain. The drooping flowers turned upward. I pursued all these things directly. When I meditated during my sadhana, I used to think of the unflickering flame of a lamp set in a windless place. This is very important for those who want to meditate on nirakar, but they cannot go without a form. And so the form of flame means consciousness. And in a windless place means constant, unwavering consciousness. And that is a beautiful object to meditate upon for many people who can neither hold on to some form, Krishna and Radha, neither Niralamba meditation. So for him, flame is one of the best forms, but not form, not particular form. Windless place flame. In deep meditation, a man is not at all conscious of the outer world. So that is, one should understand, not that TM. Meditation becomes deep and then one transcends. No example, huh? Beautiful. A hunter was aiming at a bird. A bridal procession passed along beside him with the groom's relatives and friends, music, carriages, and horses. It took a long time for the procession to pass the hunter, but he was not at all conscious of it. He did not know that the bridegroom had gone by. So that is the concentration, level of concentration. Ignoring everything else, one only point, that is concentration. A man was angling in a lake all by himself. After a long while, the float began to move. So those who, in Bengal that was very common, anywhere when angling people do, they know all these things. Began to move. Now and then its tip touched the water. The angler was holding the rod right in his hands, ready to pull it up, when a passerby stopped and said, "Sir, can you tell me where Mr. Banerjee lives?" There was no reply from the angler, who was just on the present point of pulling up the rod. Again and again the stranger said to him in a loud voice, "Sir, can you tell me where Mr. Banerjee lives?" But the angler was unconscious of everything round him. His hands were trembling, his eyes fixed on the float. The stranger was annoyed and went away. When he had gone quite a way, the angler float sank underwater, and with one pull of the rod, he landed the fish. He wiped the sweat from his face with his towel and shouted after the stranger. "Hey," he said, "come here. Listen." What does it show? The bridal past he was not aware. Here he had heard something, but not he could not respond to that. And he could not hear clearly what he is telling. But he could see, he could hear that that man is talking something, asking something. So these are the different examples. "Come here, listen." But the man would not turn his face. After much shouting, however, he came back and said to the angler, "Why are you shouting at me? What did you ask me?" That angler is telling, huh? "What did you ask me about?" Said the angler. The stranger said, I repeated the question so many times, and now you are asking me to repeat it once more. The angler replied, at that time, my float was about to sink, so I didn't hear a word of what you said. But he heard that he is saying something. A person can achieve such single-mindedness in meditation that he will see nothing, hear nothing, he will not be conscious even of touch. A snake may crawl over his body, but he will not know it. Neither of them will be aware of the other. That means because no reaction from him, the snake will not be aware that I am passing on man's body. And he is like dead to any external stimuli because he is gone inside. A beautiful description. No? Neither of them will aware of the other. In deep meditation, the sense organs stop functioning. The mind does not look outward. It is like closing the gate of the outer court in a house. There are 5 objects of the senses: form, taste, smell, touch, and sound. They are all left outside. They are outside. And they are left outside. At the beginning of meditation, the objects of the senses appear before the aspirant, but when the meditation becomes deep, they no longer bother him. They are left outside. So meditation is going inside always. Huh? How many things I saw during meditation? I vividly perceived before me a heap of rupees, a shawl, a plate of sweets, and 2 women with rings in their noses. What do you want? I asked my mind. Do you want to enjoy any of these things? No, replied the mind. So mind itself becomes an object and we talk with the mind. So Thakur's life is Vedas. I don't want any of them. I don't want anything but the lotus feet of the God. I saw the inside and outside of the women. As one sees from outside the articles in a glass room. I saw what is in their entrails, blood, filth, worms, phlegm, and such things inside the body. That is called Vastu Vichar. Girish Chandra Ghosh used to say now and then that he could cure illness by the strength of the master's name. This is Master's intervention, because he wants to know Thakur's response of it. Master, to Girish and the other devotees, people of small intellect seek occult powers. Powers to cure disease win a lawsuit, walk on water, and such things. But the genuine devotee of God don't want anything except his lotus feet. This is describing so that we should not have any digression during our meditation. That is why he is describing this. One day Rita said to me, Uncle, please ask the mother for some powers, some occult powers, as the nature of a child. While I was practicing japa in the Kali temple, I said to Kali, Mother, Rida asked me to pray to you for some occult powers. The Divine Mother at once showed me a vision, a middle-aged prostitute about 40 years old, appeared and sat with her back to me. She had large hips and wore a black bordered sari. Soon she was covered with filth. That means she passed stools there. Understood the sentence? Soon she was covered with filth. She passed stools there. The mother showed me that occult powers are as abominable as the filth of that prostitute. Understood? Prostitute itself is something to be condemned, and the filth of that. Therefore, I went to Hriday and scolded him, saying, "Why did you teach me such a prayer? It is because of you that I had such an experience." But that has again become model for all of us to learn the negative side. So positive and negative, everything in Thakur's life is a searchlight to us. People with a little occult power gain such things as name and fame. Many of them want to follow the profession of guru. These are called the godmen, so called. All of them go to jail finally because they do nonsense. Power gain, occult power gain such things as name and fame. Many of them want to follow the profession of guru, gain people's recognition, and make disciples and devotees. Men say of such a guru, he is having a wonderful time. How many people visit him? He has many disciples and followers. So, lakhs and lakhs of people go to them. His house is overflowing with furniture and other things. People give him presents. He has such power that he can feed many people if he so desires. The profession of a teacher is like that of a prostitute. He has compared this with that. It is the selling of oneself for the trifle of money, honor, and creature comforts. For such insignificant things, it is not good to prostitute the body, mind, and soul. The means by which one can attain God, body, mind, and soul are the means by which we can attain God, and we should not throw them away in gaining occult powers. For such insignificant things, it is not good to prostitute the body, mind, and soul, the means by which one can attain God. A man once said about a certain woman, she is having a grand time now. She is so well off. She has rented a room and furnished it with a couch, a mat, pillow, and many other things. And how many people she controls? They are always visiting her. In other words, the woman has now become a prostitute. Therefore, her happiness is unbounded. Formerly, she was a maid servant in a gentleman's house. Now, she is a prostitute. She has ruined herself for a mere trifle. So, all the so called great things are a trifle in front of God. How many other visions I saw while meditating during my sadhana. Once I was meditating under the bel tree when sin appeared before me and tempted me in various ways. He came to me in the form of an English soldier. He wanted to give me wealth, honor, sex pleasure, various occult powers, and such things. I began to pray to the Divine Mother. Now I am telling you something very secret. Now I am telling you something very secret. To the devotees telling, the mother appeared. I said to her, kill him. That's sin. Kill him, mother. I still remember that form of the mother, her world bewitching beauty. She came to me taking the form of Krishnamai, that Balaram's daughter. But it was as if her glance moved the world. Sri Ramakrishna became silent. Resuming his reminiscences, he said, how many other visions I saw, but I am not permitted to tell them because everything will not be assimilated. Someone is shutting my mouth as it were. I used to find no distinction between the sacred Tulsi and the insignificant Sajna leaf. The feeling of distinction was entirely destroyed. Once I was meditating under the banyan when I was shown a Musalman with a long beard. He came to me with rice in his earthen plate. He fed some other Musalmans with the rice and also gave me a few grains to eat. The mother showed me that there exists only one and not two. It is Satchidananda alone that has taken all these various forms. He alone has become the world and its living beings. Again, it is He who has become food. So, we'll continue tomorrow. We'll continue tomorrow. Wonderful. We're privileged to hear because Master Mashi could record all this and Thakur went on telling about his sadhana. It inspires us to sadhana. Om Tava Kathāmritam Tapta Jivanam Kaviviridhitam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Srimad-Atatam Bhuigranti Ye Bhurida Jana. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hare Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.